All right, my friends, brace yourself for Biden's approval numbers to start going up. I know many of you can be like, no way, Josh, everyone hates Biden. I keep saying Biden. It's the same thing. It is the extension of the horrible Obama administration. But anyway, for those of you who are not political as well understanding of politics as I am, and I know that sounds arrogant, it is the fact. So this is what the media does all the time. Politics is a momentum game, according to the media. And so what they do is they knock the guy down as much as they possibly can. Look at that, isn't that just beautiful? And then they bring him back up right before the election. So here we are in mid-July. No one's really paying much mind. I mean, people are paying attention, but not to the extent politically as they will come October. Really, after Labor Day is when the political season kicks in. So what's going to happen here is the gas prices are going to go down. The next couple months, we'll see a reduction in core inflation, or actually probably total CPI. You can see this a mile away. The gas prices will go down a little bit. I mean, here in Georgia, they're back under $4 a gallon, which is still insanely high, don't get me wrong. But, they are going down. That's just a fact, which is good. I mean, that's good. Biden just got 100 million more barrels a day from Saudi Arabia, and that's all that we're going to get. But still, I mean, it will be reflected at some point in lower gas prices. The inflation numbers will come down. The Fed will do whatever it can or BLS, whoever does the BE, Bureau of Economic Analysis, MBER, whatever the government agency that's responsible for reporting a recession will do whatever they can to pretend there was no decline in GDP in Q2 of 2022. So we'll say, see, there was no recession. So declining inflation, declining gas prices, Biden has helped by going to Saudi Arabia and reclaiming an extra 100 million barrels a day of oil. Crude, I think it's crude. Anyway, whatever. Yeah, I'm sure it is. And they'll come to the United States and be refined. And as such, Biden's approval numbers will start going up. And everyone's going to like, oh, see, Biden's, he's a comeback kid. That's what he's called Clinton. But here's the issue, my friends. For anyone who thinks even George W. Bush, lowest he ever had, even Nixon, was not lower than 35 or 30%, 35% or something like that. All right, so right now Biden's at like 32, something, I don't know, 37 approval rating with a 30% in terms of economic approval rating. I mean, and all people just care about economics. So economic approval rating is like at 30%. That still means 30% of Americans still support him, if you could believe that. So that's the lowest it'll ever be. It'll never be lower than that. All right, and as such, it only has one way to go and one way to go only, which is higher. Now, this my gripe has always been, if you follow the conservativetreehouse.com, you'll know this, how they do the polls, or follow Richard Barris over at People's Pundit. How they do the polls is completely corrupt. It's just a fact. They do, they'll just do voters. They'll just do, literally, in voter, I don't think they're doing voters. I think they're just doing adults right now, and then they'll do voters, and then they'll do likely voters. And what happens is the closer you get to likely voters, the more the political people who are engaged are reflected in the polling numbers. And the Democrats are still engaged, man. It's not like they all hate Biden. They don't. The Democrats have a significant like of Biden. It's just a fact. He's probably carrying 85% of Democrats. So when they go away from adults to registered voters to likely voters, you're going to have a huge uptick in Biden's approval rating. It's just a fact. The media, of course, will report it. And as such, they'll say, look, Biden's coming back, the comeback kid. And then they'll report the economy isn't in a recession after all. The gas prices are going down, inflation's going down. Now, so basically they're trying to get all this crap out on the front end before the real elections time frame come, which is after Labor Day. And you'll start to see more and more polls of likely voters, which inherently, and this is why they say the polls always get closer towards Election Day. The reason is because they start doing likely voters. Everyone says, oh, they get closer to Election Day as people start, basically looking red versus blue. No, it has nothing to do with that. It has to do with the likely voters. So they're not going to poll random Joe walking down the street anymore. They're not going to poll registered voters because a lot of registered voters, especially in the midterms, won't vote. They're going to poll likely voters, and likely voters significantly are the people like you and I, hopefully you, who are actively engaged in primary voting and in midterm election voting and off-year voting. And as such, those are more political, passionate people. And the Democrats are just as passionate as the Republicans are. Republicans, anytime you're in off-year election, the out party usually has a little bit more passion, by probably like a 10% clip. And usually that's all it takes to really get some serious traction in the overall base of your election results. It usually just takes about 10% turnaround. And if 5% of the other side doesn't vote and 5% more of your side does vote, that 10% it literally can make the difference of controlling the House of Representatives or not. I actually expect the Republicans to lose seats in the Senate. I know a lot of people are thinking the Republicans are going to go and win both houses. I don't think so. We have too many vulnerable. And Herschel, the polls don't look good for him so far. I'm actually surprised by that. I'm not all that worried about Herschel yet. We'll see once the summertime goes around. Right now, you can't really gauge much, especially when they're just doing random people. But the facts are the incumbents are hard to beat an incumbent. That's all there is to it, man. Especially in the Senate because they get all the money, they got the media attention. It's hard to take out the incumbents. The House side, the Republicans will win. I mean, we're only down by 7 seats, and we have the passion on our side. I'm pretty convinced of that. But the Senate, I don't think we're gonna. We have to hold Wisconsin. We have to hold Pennsylvania. Georgia is a little bit closer than I thought. And in fact, Georgia right now is probably even toss up to lean D, which is crazy. There are a couple other seats off the top of my head I'm not all that familiar with, but the Republicans have maybe Arizona a spitting chance, but I think we have too many holds that we probably won't retain. Pennsylvania's done. There's no way we're going to retain that with Dr. Oz. So point being is that don't be surprised if you start to see Biden's numbers go back up, and don't let it get you down, because it's just literally nothing you can do about it. And if you think Republicans are going to save us, I'm voting Republican. I hope Republicans win. I like Republicans better than I like Democrats, but if you think Republicans are going to save us, man, you don't know politics. Did you read the thing about Hunter Biden is tight with some freaking big Republican donor that he met at Georgetown? I mean, all these guys, they're all the beast, the uniparty. They don't care about Republican Party, in terms of, MAGA. They just want the government to run their lives because that's where they get their power and control. And if you think that the Republican Party in D.C. has any saving grace other than getting the president's judicial nominees through, I don't know what to tell you, man. The Republican Party in D.C. is just as bad as the Democrats. Again, I'll take them because the Democrats are evil. The Republicans are just greedy scumbags. But don't put your hope in the Republican Party, because I tell you, you got to put your hope. I mean, the Republican Party in the states, that's different. The state apparatus, there's a lot more opportunity there because there's a lot of corruption in the state that can be knocked around with just a little bit of voting. But the state Republican Party apparatus, I mean, just look at Iowa, look at Kansas. Some of these guys are just clown shows. But anyway, just be prepared. All right, we can go in here and get me that Boston butt, buy one, get one free last time it's here. And I'm going to make me some tonight in my Ninja Foodie. I'm going to make some pulled pork sandwiches. We'll see you.